Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Azagai here. I'm going to bring you the 5th day of the Asia Division's scoring phase. Unfortunately, we were supposed to be watching WBJQ versus HS, but unfortunately, WBJQ has forfeited. They have given up, so HS will automatically win the points. Luckily, I seem to have been able to get into the URB versus GNG. I do expect GNG to be the stronger of the teams. I have seen GNG quite a few times, so I wonder what URB. Not really looking like familiar names or anything. Then again, I can't read Chinese, but nonetheless, hopefully it's going to be a great battle. We're going to go we're going to go on Harbor City. So GNG is attacking first. Not sure when these. Looks like they're calling for the ready. So we got the double ready, just waiting on. We're gonna be eating in between. I do have my dinner here. And we're off. Hopefully I don't forget to turn this back on. Hello, Loki Tor. Alright. Got a lot of muskets coming out. A lot of poleaxes as well. Coming out from the defenders, this is. We're kind of about a 60-30 split. Well, 66-30, 33 split between. Actually, no. There is triple tier 4 lineup. I haven't seen it before. Surprised that no one really pulled it off before. Had a lot of people go in for the halberdiers instead. But the triple tier 4 might come in handy. But nonetheless, lots of Varangian guards, only one shield maiden coming up from the defenders. The attackers, however, does look a little light on the heavy infantry pile for some reason. Kind of just getting confused with the mix here. But nonetheless, lots of muskets. Probably going to switch out to between spear or pike once the battle gets going onto the ground. Not really a large variety of cavalry. Layout ranges does seem to be the popular pick. And we are off. A little bit lag at the beginning. Quite natural. Alrighty. I'll stop eating for 20 minutes. Hopefully my chicken doesn't get too cold. And it keeps flicking me back. I was hoping it doesn't do that. Alright, immediately trebs the front two at the beginning. Really don't want to slow down pushing the towers. GNG should be smart enough to know. Although, I do have to say, after the sally out from yesterday, teams are not prepared for sally out. Lots of serve just scouting about. Could see some small success by having a sally out kill off the serfs. Serfs can be useful. Definitely be useful for when it comes down to the wire and it comes down to just heroes. So taking that advantage away could set yourself up for success later. So it's quite interesting here that GNG has way more in terms of lower tier, that is in the, well, surprisingly, tier 3 and the tier 1, so that must be the extra leadership coming out, since the triple tier 4 doesn't really leave enough room for a serf unit, so there is a much lacking of serf units coming out from the defenders. But that does not mean that having low tier units is going to win you the battle. Obviously, more does not equal better. As you can see, the tier 4 is up by 400. It's up by 140, which is a good rough estimate. About 5 whole units of tier 4s. Not to mention, a slight advantage in the tier 5 does mean that they either brought bigger tier 5 units or tier 5s in general. Surprisingly, they had the Varangian guards here at the front. A couple of ballista shots should definitely clock them out. Did see a ballista get put down. Mortar shots did take out 4 of them. That's actually a very big loss for the Varangians. 4 in total. We've got G&G throwing some unsuspecting, but a Poleaxe does catch the second mole. Well done. Yo, can you tell me which units are broken nowadays? I've been off for a while and I don't understand the match. It's a whole range of things. It's a bit of a mix. It's a bit of a mix. Generally, stalwarts. You see shield maidens, VGs, definitely Liaos, and Daggerak Lancers. So those are the units that I see the most. Coming in now and again would be the Halberdiers, Halberdier Sergeants, and the Fortebraccios. So GNG is doing a good job at using the mortars to suppress the wall, and surprisingly the muskets are not really able to pressure those mortars, mainly because they're put in a pretty good spot, except for this one. This one's just out in the open. Probably gonna get blocked by the siege tower. Although Gunneer, GNG does seem to be doing very well for itself, as putting pressure by climbing. Realistically, the heroes should definitely be watching those ladders. Don't want to get spooked. We got a little bit of skirmish here up on the wall. Gotta take the. Oh, come on, you can do it. There we go. So, Gunneer Pike should not get away, actually. That choke coming out from the Poleaxe will definitely be a nightmare. And he does go down. This is why you have a bunch of Poleaxes. Apparently, the choke is very strong. A little bit of a distraction with the village watchman climbing. We have some... Surprisingly, we have shield maidens up on the wall here. Could see some ballista shots come through, but the angling could make it difficult. Branching out not the best at clearing the wall. Again, while they are in their sword mode, they don't really do that much damage. I mean, like it or not, they actually do pretty good damage for a sword and shield unit that has no attack buff while in sword and shield mode. But that was kind of amazing. Nice assassination coming out from GNG. Running away with the... Surprisingly, the heroes did not come up. Once the middle siege tower made it to the wall, they just relegated to running away. But nice assassination coming out from GNG, catching a little bit. Does look like the defenders do not want to defend the wall after a intense battle for control, though wasn't very successful, I would say. GNG getting on the wall with probably the second generation. I didn't really count the number of siege towers. I'm pretty sure if you go look back, the number of generations are very low. Normally you can get 5 or 6 with a perfect suppression. Not enough to actually close out the match with, but definitely could make the enemy very desperate. And not using the strategy that yesterday was very effective. Allow one of the siege tower, middle siege tower, up onto the wall, suppress the other 2, and force them to fight on the wall. In this case, everyone's just getting up onto the wall. Really didn't actually watch this side gate. Did seem like there was a little bit of action, or at least the defenders are taking a look. The mortars really can't get to, really can't get past into the center here unless you place them in the center. So once we're about this 3rd street here, it becomes very difficult to actually get mortars in. But that doesn't stop people from trying. These mortars can be very suppressive. Watching all your units get lower and lower. It's not about the killing potential. It's more of the damage. Ooh, big hits coming out. That lower, the stalwarts actually lost a guy. 2 direct hits, or maybe 1 direct hit and 1 explosion was enough to finish him off. Really want to keep your guys spread out, jam-packed. Line formations are really great to minimizing damage. If you got the turtle formation up or the shieldtron, even worse, gonna get absolutely murdered. And again, more artillery being placed down. This is actually good for the defenders to have so many mortars being deployed. But the unfortunate thing here is that they're too slow to retreat and did lose some more. Massive losses coming out from URB. Could be called successful mortaring from GNG. The attackers are generally in a good position when they have the wall. Got a lot of range. Trying to use more artillery to bear before massive engagements, but this is very unwise, I would say. If you were going to hold the front gate, I would have done it earlier. I've seen strategies to hold the front gate before. This is one of the things where position is key. Both of the wall, when they're on the wall and they're coming down, whoa, you deciding to take the fight to the enemy. Shield maidens to the front, gets blasted back. Does not fully engage. Could see a treb the moment they touch the wall. Does look like both sides are getting a massive fight. We got some halberdiers at the front here, just taking some skirmishing fire. No real engagement, but here comes a catch. More catching the front guys one by one. Not a very good time to go in when one of you guys get caught. Does lose a Varangian guard very easily. I think the defenders are getting a bit impatient and definitely not in a good position. Just getting shot to pieces. You either go in or get out of the way. Taking shots for free when you know the enemy is massing up is not a good decision. They're gonna have to sacrifice something, and they sacrifice 2 whole units actually. Gonna sacrifice the stalwart and the fortifier. It does look like the other side seems to have a counterattack, and the halberdier is just not strong enough to survive. Really need to have something to maintain their formation. The Iron Reaper combination with Shield Maidens and Halberdiers does seem to have wiped that party out. We got some Liao Rangers running about as well. Chevaliers have no crossbowmen left, so just the Chevalier is pretty much useless. Big mistake, I would say. GNG chipping them down could give up ground in order to make those artillery wasteful. Again, one of the most important thing about resources is how much value you can create. After that little, I think that was a tactical mishap coming out from the defenders. Really should not have pressed that. Really should not press the wall so late, in fact, with so many artillery. And we can actually see that the defenders are in a really bad spot. Their advantage in tier 4 numbers is completely zilch. They have basically half their numbers in tier 5, so at this point they've probably got only 1 and a bit set up for like high tier stuff, and I'm not even including tier 3, since tier 3 also dwarfs the defenders in this case. So man, this is not looking good. The defenders are going to have a very difficult time because there are 6 minutes left. You can get 2 good pushes out, 1 prolonged push depending on how Gungnir plays this. So the defenders gonna have to play this extraordinarily well. They're gonna have to be super efficient. Gotta win at every turn. At this point, if Gungnir pushes in all together, as long as they trade evenly, they'll win in the long run. The only problem is that they are running out of time, and this is starting off very slow. I think Gungnir is pacing for a standard push being onto the right-hand side here. Could see a flank come through the center or even the supply point rear section. Still got some arty left from both sides. I do think it is now or never. You gotta put down your arty for advantage. This has been really classic for Harbor City. The switcheroo is well, left-hand side supply point has always been a massive weakness for the defenders. Not really ever prepared for it. Forward defense on the base point for the defenders have always kind of bite them back in the ass here. Could just give up the supply point mainly because they are probably down to their last units, which is frankly probably true actually. Oh no, a couple of tier 4s are still locked up. One guy has both tier 5s up. Okay, so about half the defenders there are on their last unit. Around about 8 or 9. Ooh, not very good. Keep those Metallators firing though. Could create a lot of value. Could definitely soften up the enemy. Halberdiers in the rear can't really go in with. Oh man, they got a lot of cavalry, but this is the bad time to go in. The GNG is solidified on that supply point. You need to buy time. You are not here to wipe out the enemy. Being super aggressive here, trying to fight an enemy on the supply point is a bad move. The constant shooting from the Balconetti should have been very good, but losing them one by one by a longbow, in fact. And here comes a Liao Rangers get completely eviscerated by what though? I think Shield Maidens and Iron Reapers plus Branding and Guards just kind of annihilated that.
A walk in the park.
3 minutes to go. Plenty of time still for the attackers, and they hold that supply point very solidly. The lead continues to widen, and it is widening right now. That was a massive loss for the defenders. A massive switch comes out, mostly Halberdier type units, which is a smart move because Halberdier race is pretty much going to be go-to when it comes to wanting to keep heroes off this damn point. Got a wide area. Phalanx is known to be very deadly. Nowadays, it is the best race unit. Sport Rushers got a wider area, but they do less damage, so they do struggle to actually kill anything.
The enemy is about to the final
Trickle
flag.
of Circuit is not going to break through this wall, I would say. Wall of cavalry, heavy infantry, and yeah, gets trapped in the halberdiers, instantly died. So twice tactical mistake coming out from URB. The defenders are just really being aggressive when they are at a disadvantage, not using any of their advantages. Losses, again, another loss for losing the left-hand side supply point. And this is not really, like, losing the left-hand supply point when you're already low on units is not exactly a bad thing. They just needed to extend the fight for the 6 minutes. The thing is, patience. Gunneer was very patient. They weren't rushing. They were definitely scouting out the enemy. And it just goes to show you that you can figure out the best move to outplay your opponents. In this case, URB just kind of outplayed themselves. They definitely took decisions which are massive tactical, like, they set themselves up for a tactical failure here. At first they let the supply point go, then they go and attack the supply point when GNG is already set up on it. And this is very important because in a team game, setup, teamwork is going to be key. Other than that, GNG still going out with a very strong performance, and I don't believe that they're going to lose to very irrational or very aggressive type players that don't have a plan. At the very point, they were just charging in, thinking that they will get something. Again, the aggression on the wall, going towards the front gate. If you're going to go for the front gate, go for the front gate early. So you miss most of the artillery. If anyone goes through the front gate, you just kill them, come back, and if they come down, they'll fight you inside the front gate. And you're going to have to fight your way out, and this is one of the most difficult parts of the front gate hold. I've only seen it done once, and I don't believe... I've only seen it done once successfully, I think. Other times there was already a massive advantage, but in this case, URB did it too late and very impatient, I would say, just very impatient. really just setting themselves up for failure. I wanna believe that they have got a game plan for their attack though. They show good aggression, um, although foolish bravery I would call it. Throwing in your units, basically letting them die, and GNG shows very patient, a lot of patience. So it would not be surprised that GNG just wait for them to attack, and they just fail. So I think URB not only needs to have the same kind of patience, but needs to think about how they're going to be aggressive. So again, when you're playing up against a team that knows how to set up and a team that doesn't look like they know how to set up, it's kind of obvious who's going to win. But nonetheless, let's see. Got a mechanics question. Is it true charges do blunt damage regardless of the unit's normal damage type? So to max the damage of prefecture cavalry, I should use blunt, not slash doctrine. Okay, so that question is very interesting. So you see, okay, so you see, there are two types of damage for cavalry. Cavalry has two types of damage, and this is very important how things work out. You see, cavalry causes blunt damage when units come in contact with the horse, but they also deal their normal type damage, be it slashing or piercing, when they hit with a weapon. So, actual fact is that your normal type, your normal type, your normal type will, your normal type damage will generally get you more damage in total because it gets multiplied by the speed factor. I would actually say that you would need to look into the numbers. But generally, the normal type damage gets multiplied at a much higher rate. So to explain simply, there are components, two different components with the charge. Um, it's very hard to tell which one's which on a lot of times, but it, yeah, if there's a place to look up the numbers, not really. I don't think anyone's figured it out. I don't think anyone's figured it out. Um, but really, the blunt damage of cavalry don't really come in unless the unit you're facing survives the charge in the first place. Wow, Gunneer switching out for a very tier 4 heavy defense. That's going to be very interesting how they're going to use their tier 4s. We got some men-at-arms being used. Men-at-arms OP. I know Stella loves men-at-arms, want them to be OP. Still got that same old lineup. I think generally the lineup has not changed for URB. It does show you that they're probably better at attacking. But I do want to say the claymores could come in handy. 2 claymores together are the most powerful thing you'll ever see. 40% damage reduction plus 35% damage reduction. Wowee, those guys will go toe to toe with even the tankiest of units. And the tankiest of units nowadays would be Imperial Spearguard or the Camels. Yeah, the whole charge thing is not really something that people know about. The fact that the fact that I know that cavalry has a blunt component with some attacks, or how it actually works is that cavalry when cavalry run into something, they cause blunt damage. And that's the same with charge or their normal. And there are some limits to that. It's an impracticality that you really can't take advantage of. And in retrospect, most of the time, just increasing the damage number should show you some success. So, depending on how you use the cavalry, could increase the success or not. For lance cavalry, I would say don't go for blunt damage, mainly because the only reason why the blunt damage would come in the first place is that if the lance gets blocked by a shield. So, this is where the one case where it's just like, sure, the lance gets blocked by the shield, but once they come in contact with the person with the shield, they get knocked down, and then they get hit by the lance. So, yeah. Or a lance from a different cavalry. I'm not sure what there are some protections, like if the unit's like on the ground, they take no damage. So sometimes you'll see like entire units just gets like being underneath the charge or something and magically survive because they just stopped taking damage at some point. That is true, because one of the things about Iron Cat sword shot, like melee cavalry chargers, realistically don't hit with their swords as much. You will really notice that um, hitting stuff with the horse itself is kind of the go-to. Very surprising that GNG kind of just let the attackers just get up onto the wall here. We got the we got the right-hand siege tower get onto the wall, and the middle and the left-hand siege tower actually taking a little bit of time. Well, probably got destroyed. So one of the things that I'm pretty sure most people would have figured out by now is sword cavalry chargers have very, very strange limits. So you would end up hitting units more with the horse than with the actual sword. But like for low stuff, if you go for blunt damage, you'll probably roll over serfs much more easily. But Yeah, it's just really confused. It's just really confusing. It's just really confusing. Um, blunt damage on cavalry can work. Don't get me wrong. It's not like the multiplier doesn't work. It does work. I just don't know the limits between the two separate hits. So the best example I can give to you is Tundra Humans. Tundra Humans hit with the horse and hit with their staff. In the case of Tundra Humans, they both hit 1-to-1. They'll hit a unit, and then they will hit them with the auto attack. But here's the thing. The auto attack hits harder by default than running in. Why are you presenting yourself? You're literally got no backup here. You're going to lose your halberdiers for free. Didn't take 2 seconds to look at that and just stomp them.
First blood.
Very surprising here on the left-hand side, actually. Kind of delays them with Imperial Pike March here. The attackers push through the small gate. Not very fast, though. Gunneer is trickling in. Could be a big mistake from Gunneer. Not really set up for success, as Claymores at the front here will survive. But, wowee, that's a lot wailing on them right now. We got Varangian Guards and Shield Maidens. Point blank charge by the Daggerrack Lancers. More Daggerrack Lancers charging through. I think that's a lot of dead cavalry just there. Surprisingly, the Claymores and the Loyal Guards managed to survive, and some more Daggerrack Lancers does look like an attack on all sides. Really winning out with that cavalry swarm. Go, go, go. Not very fast enough coming out from the attackers. Really busting themselves, catching themselves in a corner there. No anti-cavalry makes for massive losses for the attackers in this case. Although, I wouldn't say that they're out just yet. The advantage is not exactly clear. Well, there is an advantage for the defenders, and it's going to just widen as a massive charge for an aggressive push towards the front gate and towards the right-hand side. So, massive respawn out from the attackers now. Going to probably try to catch them towards the supply point here on the right-hand side. Does back off. Gunneer is just literally, you hear the storm. You hear the storm as they ride around in their massive pile of cavalry, and they're just bullish in their ways. They are trying their best to catch units. Right now, Halberdier is set up for success here. Going to catch some nice cavalry. Going to be very easy to catch some Liaos as well. Whoa! Oh, yeah. Oh boy, that's going to be painful. Halberdiers did not get set up in time and get shot to pieces, but the Chevaliers also just smacks them. Surprisingly, the men-at-arms are also there, so they still have the lead right now, I would say. Gunneer has a advantage. I think this is a bit ill-advised, trying to force their way through. But if they do this correctly, they could force Gunneer in a bad position, because there is not very much here. Loyal Guards are creeping on through. Just got to kill the Halberdiers, but Halberdiers instantly eviscerates those Varangian Guards. Oh my goodness. Gunneer is holding back. Gotta really have that anti-cav ready. Charged by a Tundra Human, kind of trying to bait out anti-cav. Get stopped by the poleaxe. Oh my goodness, this is not going to be good. But not cavalry coming through at the very least. Does look like Gunneer doing very well for themselves as they slaughter the heroes one by one. I think... Oh, Christ. What am I doing? Press button. As the front line kind of breaks down slowly, cavalry starts feeding on through. I'm not even sure what happened to the front line there. Did cavalry just, like, catapult themselves right through that line? I mean, there wasn't very many anti-cavalry units in the center there. Halberdiers are great, but they're really better against units than they are against cavalry. Well, especially against Liao, anyway.
A walk in the park.
Ah, man. Getting wiped for a second time. I do think we might start seeing some permadeaths coming out from the attackers now. Twice cavalry have been a deciding factor for GNG. They're just kind of throwing their units to tie up some of I don't know, it's kind of like a bait. They have infantry around and they try to bait out URB into a bad fight, and it's working. URB doesn't seem to have the setup to survive against this much cavalry, and even if the cavalry was only coming in from one direction, I don't think I think they were too infantry heavy. Let's say too much infantry heavy. These shields are pretty much useless right now, and I'm not even sure if you have any more. Oh man, that is not looking good. Look at that. Losses. No, you've got a Fort Brasio, so a Fort Brasio, that's it. You got a Fort Brasio. Most of it's the Mez Pikemen. You know what's gonna happen? That one winged hussar is gonna kill everyone. And this is cool. Men-at-Arms forming the shield wall. You would be surprised how difficult it is actually to kill Men-at-Arms. Once they attack the shield wall, turn on the cover commander, and they really start tanking stuff. Like, see, even they tank a couple of trips, they're a-okay. They'll still fight. But here comes the fight there. That corner is going to be a very, very long fight, as no damage to either side, but sheer mass of numbers should muscle them out. But here comes the one-winged hussar. Wow, look how far they go. In a scenario like this, it's very difficult to say if cavalry has a hit limit, but it does look like they eventually stopped hitting things and just got killed by the defense pikemen just holding their ground. Slowly but surely, the superior infantry are making headway. I don't think they're throwing in any more cavalry. I'm pretty sure they have way more cavalry than that. But this is a complete wipe for URB. GNG takes this battle handedly. That is to say, quite the very least. GNG really abusing that cavalry, and URB not really having the know-how nor units to deal with it. I think the setup was weak, but then again, hard to say that the setup was weak when there's so much cavalry. See how much cavalry they brought? My goodness, how much cavalry did they bring? I'm pretty sure nearly every single, yeah, every single player from Gunneer had one cavalry at the very least. There is a massive retreat. You can win the battle by killing every single one of the attackers or defenders for a default victory. Very unfortunate, but absolutely no hope for the attackers in this scenario. So it is a wise move to kill yourself upon your attackers. But unfortunately, it does look like this one guy wants to live, so he runs for his life, as Gunneer seems to play with their food and not finishing him off. I do think that this is in bad taste, but at this point, yeah, the attacker's mistake was being aggressive when you know you're going to lose. Pretty predictable at how the performance from the attackers was going to go, and definitely would have taken more of my time. You want to set yourselves up for success, but if you just run headlong into the enemy, take fights, well, I mean, it would be foolhardy to believe that you could take Gunneer in a straight fight after the display of the first battle. But nonetheless, well done, Gunneer, winning 2-0 to URB on Harbor City. On the next set of battles, we'll be watching UNSC versus MFLM. About 20 minutes from now. But coming back to the question about knowledge, a lot of things are just not told to you, and it's just very difficult to tell. Every single cavalry will generally have a blunt damage component. This blunt damage component is your cavalry damage. So here's the kicker. When cavalry are running at high speed, they have a damage multiplier that can get up to some ridiculous numbers. Like, do remember that the upper damage limit for winged hussars is about 6.5k. These guys. Oh wait, no. The upper damage limit goes from 6.5k to like 8. When these guys are at full tilt charge, they're like at full maximum damage charge. These guys get to some ridiculous number, like 8k damage in charge. Does get reduced because, again, armor penetration does matter. Does that also get multiplied by their blunt? No idea. Also, in this case as well, there is no blunt component for winged hussars, so you have no idea. No idea how much that horse does. But some of the older cavalry, especially some of the older cavalry, have a couple of blunt damage there, which again is just very inconsistent because where is this blunt damage going to? Sometimes there's not even blunt components on these things either. Maybe it's just very inconsistent. I have no way of proving. I have no way of really stating what's what.
Destroy them!
The fact that the fact that there is no blunt components, I'm looking at it now and there's no blunt component really scares the shit out of me because
Destroy them!
it means that it means a lot of things. At this point, yes, it's true. The damage coming in from contact, from getting hit by a horse, is basically a damage type that is either blunt or not on the table. So, no idea. I have used fire. So the incendiary archers scare cavalry, so when they get hit by fire arrows, now they stop charging. But it doesn't stop the cavalry itself. That's one of the things. So it's like the case where it's just like never charge. If there's a musket line, just walk at them. But even then, sometimes charging is more effective than walking at them, because it's just like, if you charge at them and someone tries to stop and they get stopped anyway, they'll just walk there and attack. So charging speeds them up in the direction you want them to go, and you don't have to rely on the AI to be called kerfuffle with you. But it's just like, in most cases, when things are skirmishing around, charging is detrimental when you're trying to close the distance. But once you're there, close enough to attack them, charging them point blank works just as well as just Xing into them, because just generally, cavalry sucks at Xing into, just Xing in. And it's just really bad. It's just really weak. Does look like there is a... Oh, no, probably not. Never mind. Thought we got to see something else. But anyway, this is set up for the next set of battles. I'll catch you guys in a couple of minutes, 15 minutes. I'm going to finish my chicken. and we'll join the UNSC versus MFLM, and we'll watch them next. Great. I hate it when someone. Oh man, I gives me a password, it doesn't work. You damn bastards. Yeah, whenever this guy makes a thing, always puts in the wrong password. We're still 5 minutes away from the official start, but I am a bit concerned that we might not even get a match in a second, as a couple of the guys are probably relogging, maybe. Might be going crazy, cause I swear that okay, not 100% sure where Tsar had it. I swear to
羌笛
God,
何须越杨柳，
these
春风
guys
不度
had
玉
blunt
门
at
关
the。very least.
No
I swear that these
surrender!
guys had blunt. I swear that these guys also had. No, these guys never had blunt. I think. Ah! Now I don't know. Now I actually don't know. So it's just really confusing. So maybe 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 I just don't know. I just don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I do know that adding the blunt doctrine onto charge type cavalry has an effect, because I used to do tests for damage, for skills and stuff. How? I have no idea. Like, how effective it is, I have no idea. Because I didn't do math, and I couldn't tell which attack was which, because there's different components in a cavalry. The most important thing that I discovered when doing tests for cavalry is collision with the horse is different from getting attacked by the weapon. That's the only thing I understood. What number came from which attack? No idea. This one
two Russians.
was it's very confusing, because okay, so here's an important thing that you should know about Tundras. The horse collision attack hits more by default, I think. You see multiple damage numbers come out from this guy? Yeah, that's because he's hitting once with the horse and once with the spear. But when he hits with the spear, he can only hit one guy. He can only hit one guy with the spear. Some slashing attacks. He's got slashing attacks. Yeah, that is amazing. Normally, he does a thrusting attack, which is a piercing attack. Only hits one guy. But when he does a slashing attack, that hits more than one guy. And it's confusing as hell. It's confusing as hell. You don't know which attack hits multiple times. You don't know which attack does one damage type or the other damage type. It's all theory. It's all guesswork. Unless someone or developer tells you this is happening, you have no idea. It's all speculation. Like a long time ago, when I was trying to figure out javelins, I figured out that the skills themselves have a multiplier, and surprisingly, the multiplier is larger on the penetration, or at the very least, the at the time, I believe that the penetration got me more damage. Well, at the time, increasing the penetration got me more damage than adding more damage. So, um, it was only proven until later that they actually gave us some numbers for these things. So, apparently, like, Imperial Javanese throw at a penetration rate of like 350%, and I think like some of the low tier javelins threw at like 180. So yeah, these guys did around about 3,000 damage per throw. That's like pretty amazing, by the way. Or was it like 200 thing? all in all, I'm never in a situation where something can be just definitive, because most of my tests are experienced and extraordinarily biased. It's from my own experience. So I like to believe I'm very knowledgeable about the game. Unfortunately, one guy just DCs again. Like, if you DC, that's very unfortunate. You know, I muted myself instead of taking down the thing. That was really funny. I just watching lots of winged assassins though. Yeah, no, that's like how they changed prefecture heavy cavalry as well. Well, heavy prefecture heavy cavalry. Yeah, they changed heavy prefecture heavy cavalry. You can barely get them to attack with their normal attack anymore. I don't even think it's possible to get them to attack their normal, like, to get prefecture heavy cavalry to do their normal sword swing now is to have them use breakthrough, come to a stop, and be in contact with a unit. You have to get those scenarios down. And even then, like, sometimes when they're running at high speed, they'll just they'll just do another breakthrough. And coming out of the gate, we're going with a massive B push, unprepared. One of the first times I've ever seen a B push, and the defenders do not see this coming. But it's a bit slow. This front gate would have been broken down, and the attacking team should be halfway up in that grill. Unfortunately, the defending team is already moved over, getting ready to switch open. Like, not enough people were smashing this gate. 5 guys smashing that gate, broken through, halfway up here before even the first hero would have touched that. Oh, yeah, I did a bunch of tests. Apparently, Javelin started, apparently Javelin sergeants don't do block break, at least the heroes. So either the block break numbers are normalized against hero. Oh, still. I don't know what the defenders are doing, but nice. They got suppressed by a Falconetti. They wanted to sit here in this little gap, but the defenders, I mean, the attacker did not go through the front gate. Like, that's a smart move. Iron Reapers charged into nothing. Probably wanted to hit the Shield Maidens, but unfortunately getting absolutely surrounded there. Holy cow. There are some alchemists out on the field? Hello, my friend. Alchemist not going to be very effective in a scenario where there is no front line. You have, whoa! I'm sorry, your Shield Maiden's just scouting around, and unfortunately, again, lots of Iron Reapers getting caught out. They're slow as. Wow, no, that is very unfortunate. I thought. Now the Howdy is facing the wrong way. I think multiple Winged Star charges charged into that pile and unsuccessfully broke it. Right now, the defenders are just getting completely chased down one by one. They will go down. They have a nice setup for costumes. Another one gets caught. The short sword is trying his best. Gets killed, but the Liao Rangers push on forward, completely outnumbered now, and losing everything. A and C getting Court B is already gone, and UNC SC just keeps on pushing. At this point, this is the only time where they can't push because cavalry cannot get up this damn stairs. We didn't test. We didn't test that actually. Probably should ask Alan if he wants to test that.
No retreat.
Wow, I don't know why they're being so aggressive. They're throwing in cavalry and they're bringing up a Fort Brascio. This supply point is not even in their name, and they're fighting against an enemy in a defensive position. They are losing a lot.
Enemy reinforcements
But
are
yeah,
attacking from the
it.
harbor.
Well, that was successful at least. See if you can keep doing. See if you can keep pushing right now. Whoa! How did that work? No, it's too high. It's shooting over. But the shield maidens are just outflanking this pile, outnumbered, outflanked, and getting absolutely killed. I'm not sure if throwing in more winged hussars at this moment is a very wise move, although they can be very effective. There is a Badao now, and I don't know. Loyal guards have sometimes stopped them. Not all the time, sometimes. Losses are incredible though. Oh, that's very unfortunate. I really hate that. You see what happened there is that the shield maidens got CC'd, instantly got up and attacked the winged hussar. Like, why is that a thing? There are some interactions which have always just been very strange to me. Oh, here comes the crossbows. But does get hit by a mortar. Got lots of Bez pikemen, and I don't think it's going to be very effective at stopping this entire swarm of heavy infantry as it just balls their way through. A Fort Brascio, it still remains, but it's walking straight into a death trap. The longsword's doing a good job at holding a bit of friendly fire there, but the Fort Brascio is made ineffective as short swords try to jump the final point. Wow. Okay, so I can say that good effort. Like, I love the usage of the winged hussars, but just not at the right time. Getting caught like that every single time, just, you want to set the enemy up. You need to fight them where they're weak, not where they're strong. If you want to fight them where they're strong, you got to make sure that you have something of interest to them. So at this point, you could say you're defending the supply point, but they're getting the B point anyway, and you just need to sit back and wait for them to come to you. If you're getting shot by the Falconettis, just don't, just avoid it. Take it out even. This is just an unfortunate case of just, you picked where you wanted to fight badly, like really badly. If they weren't coming through the front gate, I wouldn't have sat at the fence line here. I would have moved up to the secondary fence line here. Check the stairs, check the wall break, get shot with a couple of Falconetti shots. You have sections next to the B point where you can hide behind walls and stuff. Makes it very difficult to get shot at. And as they move those Falconettis, just move on to different sections. You can climb this section, the right-hand section of the wall, or the left-hand section of the wall, and move across. Try to sweep them out, or pressure them towards the front. You can make them go all the way to A, in fact, and just chase them there. Nevertheless, bad timing with the winged hussars as well. Going downhill into a... surprisingly, going downhill is actually worse. Yeah, go figures. So going downhill or uphill always works against you. Doesn't matter if you're going uphill or downhill. For some reason, elevation just really just screws either side up. I just... I can't really support shield maidens. Well, I wouldn't call them good. I would call them not. I would call them a pretty standard team. Basically, it's just like the difference between an actual team and a bunch of players. So UNSC definitely has a strategy, definitely has teamwork. They had a setup. They went for the B point. They had people in areas. They had units at particular points to contest for control. The unfortunate thing here is that it's always just a good team needs a good team to fight against in order to prove that they're a good team. If they're fighting against basically a bunch of players, which is I don't think that MFLM has a really good strategy. They just tried their best, of course. So teamwork is lacking in this case. Decisiveness was also badly placed. They're taking fights where they really, really shouldn't. One of the fights was taking back the supply point after retreating. Watching the Winged Hussars come in down that slope straight into apparently an anti-cavalry pile and getting themselves killed. Waste of cavalry. All of the Iron Reapers should be in position before the fight even starts. And this is the most important thing. They weren't sticking together. Like, the whole team didn't seem to be all in one place. They kept going in one at a time or getting picked off one at a time. Unlike UNSC, who was all together the entire time and literally deathballed it all the way to base. So they are a team, but they're pretty standard to me. They don't seem to have enough pressure to show the skills, nor to stress the strategy. And don't knock the strategy. The strategy was good. The opener was great. Slow for the front gate. Kind of worried. Goes through the broken wall instead. Gets priority. Get that Falconetti gunner up onto the wall. Shoot down towards the enemy. You see everything at B. You shoot them out. And it's very easy for... it was very easy for UNSC to just get priority there at the B point. I don't think that MFLM had a chance at defending it, but I would have definitely, if I was choosing to defend it, I would have definitely chosen better options to defend it. Not to mention, like, if I was going to keep a token force at A, I would definitely have someone who's faster. At the very least, a cavalry unit just hovering A would have been better, just in case you need that desperate last shove to save the B point. And again, having Iron Reapers move across from one section to the other takes forever. So the slow push from UNSC from the beginning gave the defenders more than enough time to get into position for a defense. So again, like, UNSC just had their strategy work for them, but it's just the failure of the defenders to really respond. And I think the response was incorrect for wanting to... I mean, like, Wayne Aside charges can be amazing, but if you got no infantry already engaging the enemy, sending in your cavalry could mean certain death. Certain death. In that case, it was certain death. The other time, you threw in a cavalry, it kind of failed, it kind of fizzled. You threw in another cavalry, it kind of worked. And then eventually you just bled out the enemy somehow. So, it can work. Throwing in cavalry chargers are powerful. Don't get me wrong. They're definitely very powerful, but there's just a lot of things that could go wrong. And hero intervention is just one of them. And there's always a hero. A one hero intervention could stop half a cavalry, most of a cavalry. And I don't like it, but shield maidens are not exactly weak against cavalry. In like the whole grand scheme of things, they're not particularly weak against cavalry. In fact, they're one of the better units. That not specifically to counter cavalry, but they're one of the better units to counter cavalry. That being loyal guards as well. Stalwarts. Sorry, I keep getting that confused. Stalwarts are very good at stopping cavalry as well. And, I mean, again, it's just the unit choices, the timing, the setup. There's a lot to improve for both sides. Mostly for MFLM. Just mostly for MFLM. Going with the Winged Hussar into the Iron Reaper again. Gotta see if it's going to be successful. I do think a brute force approach is very Zerg-like, but you're definitely gonna have to come up with a system at the very least. Going for the A side could lead you to bleed out more units than necessary. The B side does not have a really good angle unless you clear the intersection. And this is kind of similar, but you can just go straight through. So the A is not bad to charge. And also, it would be amazing if you can do a corner charge. I'm really bad at doing corner charges because lag causes me to wait too long before starting to charge. So my cavalry momentum normally pushes them too far ahead, and I end up squishing them, running them straight into a wall. So the second battle between UNSC versus MFLM. Got a couple of guys there on the B point, probably accidentally forgot to press, or maybe they were there, or intended to go there. Front gate getting shot down, getting chopped down by a long sword. Want to have some guys push the thing. That's always very unfortunate. 2 muskets can definitely hurt your guys pretty badly. And definitely would hate to lose my Winged Hussars early, especially if it's just one. It's always just annoying just getting one killed. Now, here could be very interesting how this works out. Fort Braccio would be super strong, and hello, AO92. Thanks for the raid, my dude. There is a 3-minute delay, so I cannot respond immediately. There is a 3-minute delay, so if you're still around, thanks for the raid. Right now we're watching MFLM attack on Heilong Fjord against UNSC after a massive defeat in their defense. Right now the start is looking pretty shaky, but they do break through the shields pretty easily. Winged Hussars wipes the remainders of it. Right now got to finish off a Fort Braccio, really struggling though. Winged Hussars get halfway through, kind of get stopped, but we got some Bastian Wild Flames, otherwise DQ Militia, throwing in, surprisingly devastates the stalwarts there on the side with some Iron Reapers, not with Flail, or actually with Flail. Now, whoa, Varangian Guards comes into the mix. They definitely are a difficult unit to deal with. We got some Chevaliers crunching through. So, getting completely pushed out. What happened to the rest of your dudes? I feel like you lost a lot of people there. And that grape shot in the back, yeah, you lost a lot of people. There's only like 3 guys awake right now. Like 3 guys alive right now. And they're probably all at the B section right now. Oh man. Right now, there is an Imperial Pike March going off, knocking down an entire Iron Reaper pile. That is not good. Not good at all, as they just get rolled by a cavalry push. Winged Hussar getting stopped, crossbows at the ready, and the Shield Maidens along with Chevaliers just body blocks the hell out of that. Another push towards this A point. A little bit desperate, not taking out those grape shots. 2 grape shots shooting into the backs of your entire army. We got whoa! That was funny. Why would you mount it? You want to keep it? Oh no, that's not good. Shield Maidens coming through, slaughters those Venly. At every turn, they're just getting absolutely massacred.
Death summons you.
Not surviving for very long. Another push towards the B point might come through, might not. Right now, they're kind of stalled out, as they don't know whether or not to go in, but the attack at the A point completely stopped right now, and a Winged Hussar charge straight into a wall right now. Or not controlling them. I do think they're probably put on attack mode at this rate. Shield Maidens are out for a hunt. Ooh, could get a charge off, but being unsuccessful, and it's going to swipe the Halberdier line. Although you can't be confident in cavalry, that's just getting absolutely cut down.
Child's play.
Falco spot? I didn't even see the Falco. I didn't even concentrate on the Falco since like the front end battle was just not turning out very well. Oh, Iron Reapers straight into Halberdiers. Could be just tanky enough to kill them. Does get back up. Loses a couple of Iron Reapers. Very unfortunate, but they do manage to just slaughter the Halberdiers quick smart. The Halberdier sergeants at the front are not even going to be able to survive long enough for the Shield Maidens to slaughter them. Not good. Not going to be good for MFLM if they cannot muster in the forces. And I just realized that on the other side, they're just feeding in troops as well. Medals mixed in with the Fortebraccios, or mixed in with the Halberdiers. Halberdiers finally just called it a day and just died. The heroes are just duking it out there on the side, getting grape shot there. The remaining Medals cannot defeat the stalwarts, and one by one the heroes do clock out. Oh man, this is just an absolute slaughter. The defenders are just sallying out after just the attackers just throwing their units at either end, and them just switching one side to the other, crushing the attack.
A walk in the park.
And one by one, MFLM just slowly clocking out as one by one the heroes get farmed. And it does look like they are leaving the battle. 1 minute 40 seconds left to go. I highly doubt they would have another shot at this anyway. Less than 60 units left. That would probably be from the guys that remain. Only maybe two members left now.
A walk in the park.
Oof, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So, 3 people, I think. 2 people left in the match. Don't think. Ah, man, that is a depressing display. MFLM kind of rushing to their deaths. Again, not really thinking about how to win, trying to brute force their way through. So, UNSC just realizing that their enemy's just running out of steam, eventually just going out and killing them. What can you do? What can you do? I know, it's just, this is just, I gotta go find someone that's going to stream on, since, I will be closing up the stream after this battle ends. So, short stream tonight. A little bit disappointed from just the general performance out of the teams today. Really heavy on the one-sided stomp, but you can expect that now and again from the scoring phase. The only disappointing thing is that I started off, well, I started on the second day actually, and I got some really good matches, and they were super fun to watch. Unfortunate thing is we just don't have very many good. We just don't have very many good teams by the look, by the things of it. I'm gonna see if I can catch this one. Apparently, the second battle. BB 910. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yay! I actually got in, so I can still watch matches. I hear. Oh man. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh man, so there's no more observers can come in. Yay! Oh, very lucky. I think this might be the second battle. This has to be the second battle, and I'm surprised that the battles for the first, like my one, just ended so quickly that I was able to catch someone else's second battle. Yeah, so a surprise third match we're going to be watching. So, BPJT versus BBYK. I think BBYK is the better of the two teams, but we'll have to wait and see. Do you think this is the second battle? So I can't tell you who won the first one, but we do know that BPJT is going to be attacking, so BBYK did attack first. And we're back on Harbor City. Harbor City seems to be a map of choice. I think we only have 3 choices anyway. It's like Hailong Fjord, Harbor City, and Linwu Fortress. Not sure if anyone wants to actually choose Linwu Fortress. Although there have been battles on Linwu Fortress. I think Harbor City would probably be the map they would most teams would probably pick. So about a 50-50 split between the tier 5 and tier 4, with the tier 3 in the mix. And about pretty heavy on the tier 5s coming out from the defenders. The defenders really... The PBYK is surprising me because nearly every single defender tonight has a lot of... Well, I mean, the battle before this set, muskets on the wall were very, very powerful. And it was just not, it was just, muskets can do a lot, because they can suppress the siege towers, they can obviously bomb the mortars. Mortars need to be pretty close to the wall. Again, with the treb to these guys, to the front thing. Not something I would waste a treb for. Realistically, I'd just put down one cauldron, destroy all of that front thing. Even if they get a couple of shots off, it's no real sweat, because you want to suppress the wall, and rushing it with the treb is not necessary. You really want to focus on getting the cauldrons that are put down, Culverins do the most damage and are definitely the most valuable targets to take out with the Treb. So even if you take out a ballista and a cannon, it's not really worth it in the end. Could easily just have 2 mortars here at the front anyway, just bombing them. But I would put down a Culverin. Nice old good Culverin. Health on the siege towers. Does look like the right-hand siege tower is getting heavily fired upon. The middle siege tower is okay. And the left-hand siege tower will definitely go down. We got 1 Culverin. Normally you get a Culverin here in the far corner. Second Culverin also being built. The surprising thing about this Culverin, if you actually move it here, you actually get saved by this pavilion-looking thing. And I've seen someone place it on this step thing here, and it's actually very hard to treb. Mainly because each of these poles will block your vision, and trust me, when you're standing up here looking through the smoke, yeah, I've missed many a treb trying to treb a Culverin that's right there. Oh, volleyed straight into that siege tower. Might be a little bit again, you had plenty of time. You could have even waited for that. You had like 3 Culverins staring at that siege tower. But then again, no chances. I do think it would be very important for these mortars down here to be destroyed, but Falconetti shot actually takes out one. I do think the muskets are doing a pretty good job. Should do a good job as well. I think it's shooting towards it now. Too bad we can't see how much health those things have, but take a couple of shots. Mortars really need to take out those Culverins. Does the Falconetti's doing their job. Takes out those mortars there. Surprised? I'm actually surprised. Since I really didn't think about it before. Have the Falconettis not to destroy the siege towers, but to suppress the mortars. So the mortars need to get pretty close. Like, mortars need to be very close to the walls to shoot up on top of the wall. So mortars can, like, these Falconettis could move over here, probably hit that, or even here. They could move on to this section here and shoot that mortar. If not, move all the way over here, shoot that mortar. You got plenty of angle and plenty of room to work with to suppress counter mortar fire. BPJT, looking at this small gate here. Got 2. Nice dodge from the Trebs. It's very telegraphed because normally you can spot a hero if they're trying to treb you, and obviously once those Trebs starts flicking, when the Trebs flick, because all of the Trebs flick towards the location, and they don't all fire at once, so they obviously fire in the series, but you can definitely predict those Trebs coming. What was that? Did the siege tower go down? Or it looked like something exploded, like a mortar exploded. The unfortunate thing here is that they have to go all the way around. They cannot get this supply point, by the way. This supply point is actually locked for them. But nonetheless, BPJT taking a smart move and forgetting about the wall, since right now the suppression is kind of perfect. They have a couple of Culverins probably still left. Yeah, they still have a couple of Culverins rocking around across the wall, and the Falconettis will definitely suppress it very much. Instantly wiping the Chevaliers with a forced charge and nice sweep of the ground here. All the cavalry that you had was probably going to die. This is very bad. The Shield Maidens are not in a position to retreat at this angle. Kind of die where you stand scenario, because when the enemy is inside and they need to get onto the wall, retreating your unit is going to end up very badly. Wow! Some Trebs actually make it onto the top of this wall. That was a nice Treb. Devastating damage. BBYK could be seeing a massive loss here as... Whoa! Axe Raiders, what are you doing? A little bit glitchy here. What is happening? Oh my goodness. I lagged so hard. That was me. That was me. That was me. My internet just decided to go whoopsie daisy. But nonetheless, the victory is decided. Half of BBYK just completely decimated in this scenario. Surprisingly, where did those... Oh, no. Claymores just get to the front very fast. The wisest thing to do is actually just to have those guys on cover commander and just die on top of that point. They're very difficult to kill, but that doesn't stop an entire swarm of shield maidens decimate that Imperial Spearguard in like a few seconds. Like, literally a few seconds. So, we're looking pretty healthy for the attackers. The defenders taken 2 heavy losses. Good time, I would say, but nonetheless, putting BBYK in a bad spot. They have to win the next set of battles. Both sides, I mean, sorry, the defending side going in with more... I can't remember now whether or not they had more tier 5s. They lost half their forces, preserving half of them now, and it's going to be difficult to recover against an equal number of tier 5s. They got less tier 4s, so in this case, I think the defender did go in with more tier 5s. A 50-50 split for the attackers, so you're not in a terrible spot, but you're not in a good one either. The chances of a comeback here really relies on you catching the enemy where they're weak. I would definitely catch these guys on the wall. These guys are prime target because they're by themselves and could look for a choke there on the... Yeah, no. I would definitely get these guys on the wall. There's 3 of them on the wall. The front gate might be deadly, but you could have a couple of guys stay there. But these guys on the wall, you should take them out. Completely isolated. BBYK not looking at the opportunity. Probably don't want to expend the resources. But here's where the remaining artillery could just turn the tide just from existing. A ballista downrange would keep the front gate mostly cleared. And this is where the failure of BBYK could bite them in the ass, because losing so much troops at the beginning makes them a little bit afraid. But they do take a hero. Could lose that pike. That short sword. Pike dancing out of there really easy, but really do not like the shield maidens. And losing a loyal guard. No! No, 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 no. That is not what's supposed to happen. Again, there's 3 units up here, 4 heroes now, and retreating. You could small victories, you need to grab, and you're losing ground as more and more people get up onto the wall, getting that range advantage, and putting down the artillery. Well, that's the thing. There's no longbow coming out from the attackers, so a good longbow player should be able to suppress the Falconetti. So yeah, you're right. A good every team should have a longbow player. Every team should have a longbow player, I think. BPJT just going straight for the left-hand side, and this has been the death of many teams. Slow to react, and BBYK does seem to be caught out in this position. Maybe not. The Liao Rangers kind of friendly, gets them in the rear and friendly fire. Right now, I don't know what the Liao Rangers were doing, but just sitting there now. 1 interrupt. You're gonna have to keep moving. You can't get roadblock like this. Oh, and I didn't realize that Rattan Pikeman just burnt down into the ground there. The Outrangers from BBYJ does do a nice catch. Oh, that is devastating for your Chevaliers. Your Chevaliers did not set up in time, and wow, this is a staggered defense right now. BPJT just crunching the defenders into oblivion. Shield Maidens cutting their way through. I don't even think there's any defenders left on the field. Where are you? All of the defenders from BBYK are dying or dead. Oh man, now pushing onto the base point. Most of the defenders being dead means a massive respawn incoming, but is that going to be enough to change the tide? I don't think so, as they're really struggling to get through one Medal and one Shield Maiden. Here comes a double charge from Daggerrack Lancers. Completely out. Both avenues to get in towards the base point blocked off. There is a third and fourth avenues to escape from, but it's just not worth it, as you're just going to have to go past the enemy anyway. Not enough time to go through those sections, as no one is capable of holding. Completely blocked off. BBYK, unfortunate defense there. Probably this is the case of just not being aggressive enough. When they switched over to the left-hand side, BBYK should like when they came down, BBYK should have been there already, ready to fight, ready to contest them, and the fact that they weren't there means that they were slow to react. In the end, trickling on through across the map, getting themselves killed as they tried to save that supply point. Losing that supply point is not the end of the world, but how people have responded to a left side push has been very detrimental. Very detrimental. I think in the face of calmness, you can recover from losing the left-hand side supply point. It really requires patience, but when you're in a rush like that, I keep chalking it up that you need to get to the left-hand supply point, but that's factually not true. I've seen one defense a really long time ago where the defenders actually had the right-hand side supply point and the attackers had the left-hand side supply point, and they were both funneling in troops from either side, and the attackers had all the advantage to get their troops through, but surprisingly the defenders, using the natural choke point that would normally stop the defenders, stopped the attackers from getting through. So very unfortunate for BBYK. I was hoping for a field battle, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Does seem like BPJT is actually the better of the teams, and they did seem to have won the defense. I'm going to see if I can... No, there's no observing. Well, anyway. So, with that out of the way, I believe, since there is no more battles for today, for tomorrow, I'm going to double check my schedule, just in case anyone else pulls out. So, tomorrow, I will be watching BRG versus WAK, and following that, I have GW versus SSR. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We did get to watch URB versus GNG. GNG just wiping the floor with URB. I'm not sure what URB was planning to do or wanting to do. Again, just going in piecemeal, one at a time, very split, not really working as a team. Similarly, the second battle between UNSC versus MLFM, UNSC just completely wiping the floor with MFLM. MFLM just, again, going in one at a time, or, again, like, if you're going to try to brute force it, go in all at once. And when I mean go in all at once, I mean every single one of you. Kind of splitting their forces again, like they get caught out on some section, they get caught out one at a time, and then when they try to go in, they just get dodged. Really not bringing a good strategy online in order to set themselves up for success. Really just wanting the enemy just to be presenting themselves as well, and they just brute force their way through, but it just didn't work out that way. But also, like, again, lack of setup for both URB and MFLM. I think UNSC did have a strategy, but didn't really show off any particularly good, good strategy. No. Skill-wise, I have no idea. At this point, they didn't really need to have very high skill in order to beat their opponent. GNG showed a really great patience against their enemy, so that is one thing. Nevertheless, we did get to see the final battle between BPJT versus BYK, and that ended up with apparently BPJT taking the base point on Harbor City, and it did turn out that they did win their first one since it came on at the second time. So BPJT did win 2-0 against BYK. So you already know what's going to happen tomorrow. I'll catch you then. Other than that, my name is Azakai. Have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed my commentary for the 5th day of the Asia Division scoring phase. Hopefully we get some more exciting battles, but unfortunately for today, that is all we have. Bye for now.